Hello, my name is Larisa Kesteli Kostjuk and I'm working as a Vedic astrologer and Ayurvedic therapist in Zagreb. I would like to talk about the transits, the upcoming ones in April. We have a conjunction Mars and Saturn, but I would like to start the story with Venus retrograde, which we had middle of December 2021. And it lasted until the end of January this year. It collided with Mercury retrograde, middle of January, until the beginning of February. So we had 3 months of pretty exhausting time regarding our relationships. I usually work with clients regarding their relationships, especially partner relationships and friendships and co-workers, and I do natal charts. So this is the most interesting part for me regarding astrology. And the interesting thing for me was to see how everything happened for a reason in the last 3 months, and we will see the culmination and the resolvement in April, middle of April. So I will guide you through the transits. So maybe you can relate with your story and your life. How did everything happen? So we can conclude the subject with this Mars-Saturn conjunction. I will pull up a chart so you can see how it looks like. You don't have to be confused. I'm having a Jyotish software, so it's a Vedic astrology software. And now we see the transits. Okay. We had Venus with Mars approaching to one another in early February. So when we had Valentine's Day, they were together, and this was pretty intense. So probably you have, if you, and most of you have some sort of a romantic relationship, or you have an affair, or you have a flirt, or you have a marriage, and if this conjunction happened in your chart in some important place like your fifth, seventh house, eighth house, or ascendant, maybe has to do with the Lord of the seventh. So everything regarding relationships, you felt that, and maybe you had a triangle, maybe you are in a hidden secret relationship, or when Venus is retrograde, middle December until the end of January this year, somebody who was already in your life maybe showed up again, or somebody who is pretty impossible to have, and the relationship cannot be realized. So maybe you have an end of a relationship, and if you try to break up the relationship in that period where Venus was retrograde and then Mercury came retrograde until middle of February this year, it was pretty tough because when we have this kind of situation, especially Venus-Mars conjunction approaching to Pluto, I witnessed a lot of blackmailing, emotional manipulation, aggressiveness, especially regarding communication between partners. And maybe you yourself were in a situation where you're pushing things to resolve or to push them in another level, and the partner was pushing back. So if you ended up something in this period or you began a relationship, probably a lot of passion turned out, and it's on a weak foundation part. So to see that middle of February, where we had that conjunction is where two planets are together, like 5 degrees, 10 degrees, or we had them together. This is not a marriage. This is a relationship. This is a sexual, passionate relationship. And when we have contact with Mars and Venus, it seems like a good option, but actually this is a lot of pushing and pulling stuff in communication. And this is good if you have just a casual sexual relationship, but this is not so good if you need to communicate, if you need to clear things out. This can be pretty hard because Venus is saying, I want to talk. This is all about us, the two of us. And Mars is the planet that says, this is all about me, and this is all about what I want and what I need. So the two of them are sometimes a very passionate and very fiery and not so pleasant combination. They approached Pluto by the end of February and the beginning of March, and we had the conjunction on the 6th, 7th of March. And when Venus is with Mars and with Pluto, you have that ultimate obsessive, compulsive behavior. This is either me or nothing, or you have to do this, either I'm gone. So it's pretty much blackmailing, manipulating, and a lot of anger. So, and when we have Mars with Pluto, then I'm going to get you, and it's going to happen sooner or later. There is no way you can escape. This is not so good if we are talking about relationships. So as the story moves on, Venus and Mars are together. They are moving in the same pace pretty much, but Venus is a little bit faster. And she ran it out to our little friend Saturn. So this happened on the 28th, that was yesterday, and we have a full conjunction today and yesterday. And this impact, we have Moon also here. So we have Moon, Venus, Saturn, and Mars together. We had that fascination, idealization of a partner or somebody we hooked on to it in March, February. And now when Venus came closer to Saturn and she ran on top of him, we have a situation where we can see the person we are with and we can see them for who they are. It goes both ways because the chart is always an interaction, so the partner also sees us. And this is a good time to calm ourselves down because we had a lot of passion going on last 2-3 months, and we were pretty determined about whether we want to have the relationship, we want to have the person, we want to go in that direction. But now we have a moment where we can look everything from a helicopter perspective and we can see, okay, who is this? We had before that, like 10 days before, we had Venus in square with Uranus and also Mars square Uranus. A lot of fighting, a lot of unpleasant information we didn't know about the other person and probably the other person about us. So this was a shock. And now when we have all the info, when we have Saturn Venus contact and Mars is approaching, this is a good week to see, okay, I'm here. This is the person. Can I make this relationship work? Is this good for me? Because Saturn rules time. And what we see now is somehow disappointing. We can feel disappointed and alone, whether we are in a relationship or we are not, or we are in some form of a hidden or a secondary relationship or in an affair. But actually, this can be a pretty lonely week. It will pass because everything with these are transits. They come, they last, and they go away. So it depends on your natal chart. It will happen on a relationship plane or maybe somewhere else. But Mars, Venus always talks about our love and our relationship with other people. So when we have Saturn with Venus, this is a realistic moment to see, do we want this or not? Can we do this? Do we really want something like this? Because Pluto gave a lot of obsession, and we were blinded by our hormones. Now we have Saturn, which is a realistic planet. It's down to earth. It's here actually to put some boundaries on everything, especially on that Venus, Mars, passion, relationships. So it's a good time to just move away and see what's happening. If this is something that you want and you can handle, and this is good for you, and you made the decision, because this is a time where you will have to make some kind of a decision. Then you don't have a problem if you are okay with this where you are with the person. But if not, then you will have to resolve something in yourself before everything. 4th, 5th of April, we have Mars conjunct Saturn. These are two malefics, and this is never a pleasant contact. So we had this represents actually a bridge that that came across, and that's burned. If we decide to, and you have to be very sure about this, if you decide to break up, if you decide to move things a bit further, or you want to put a boundary on something, this is the right time to do it. But you have to remember, things will never be the same. If you want that, that's okay. Mars Saturn usually brings a lot of passion, a lot of anger, and Saturn will, from the other side, will push back with its limits. So you have anger and fear, and when you have two people fighting like that, they will change sides and flip and flop, and this will become an interaction. So just be careful on the 4th, 5th, 6th of April. If you want to resolve something, try to do it in a peaceful manner. We have Mercury in Aries, so we will have a tendency to talk and say everything that's on our mind, especially if we are emotional about the subject. So just be careful to take in account how the other person feels when you're saying something you want, and especially when you're saying something you don't want. This is pretty important because Mercury in Aries will be pretty aggressive verbally, and we will all have the tendency to say everything that's on our mind, but just be careful to do it with consideration and give the other person a chance to give you feedback. So in 3 months' time, I was hearing my clients, oh, I found the guy. He's wonderful. He's perfect. We're getting married. This is it. Then he's not so good, or oh, he's in a relationship, and now I'm hearing, this is not it. 3 months. These are transits. It's a pretty intense time, and the first 3.5 months of 2022 are going to be the hardest. So we are moving away from it now. The last tough conjunction is now beginning of April, 5th of April, Mars Saturn. So be careful. um, don't fight over some ego issues, position, status, payment. Don't get into fights with your boss, with your superior, and try to stay calm. And if you want to end something, end it now. You have to be sure, and you have to do it in a very peaceful manner, because you want some new freedom, want that Aquarius stuff. You want quality, you want something else, you know what you want, and you know what you don't want. Things are not going to be the same, so you have to be sure about that. Thank you for your time. I will be back with some other topics, and see you again. Bye.